Hey guys, how's it going? It's Joe here. Thanks for visiting my channel. Please, if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, please click on the link below on the subscribe button, and as well the bell notification icon, so that you may get any videos I may be uploading on YouTube. In today's video, I wanted to go over the current situation occurring in Syria, and the whole notion that World War III is going to break out any moment now with the US invading Syria. I wanted to give you my insight and my analysis of the situation, and this is just a follow-up to my previous video on YouTube as to why President Trump may be threatening to have war in Syria. And the main idea is that the Iranian presence, the Russian presence, and the Syrian are all collaborated with many other forces in the Middle East, and are surrounding the United States' a key ally, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is surrounded, in a sense, from Yemen to Lebanon, where Saudi Arabia has supported Lebanon for decades, financially, economically. And we have a big presence, for example, of Hezbollah, who is grown to magnitudes of strength. Up until recently, the Lebanese army had maybe limited presence. After the growth of Hezbollah, but in the recent years, especially now, I can say the last year, they've been heavily armed and being massively supported by the international community, the European Union, as well as United States, supporting weapons and arms to Lebanese forces to balance out the power in Lebanon, for example. But I wanted to actually just focus on this video and say that there isn't going to be a war in Syria now, in my opinion. The United States, especially Trump, President Trump, he's playing his game, okay? He doesn't come out publicly saying that I'm going to invade a country. We've seen the same rhetoric with North Korea just a few months ago. And just like usual, people, we forget. A few months ago, there was fear that North Korea is going to bomb the United States with a nuclear weapon any moment now. And everyone was afraid. Everyone was taking cover or taking precautions in Hawaii, in Mali, not Mali, sorry, I can't remember the name, Maui. So the whole world was under the fear that North Korea is gonna bomb us anytime, and the North Korean dictator was every day saying that he's gonna get this ready, he's gonna throw the nuclear bomb. And Trump was threatening retaliation, that this would be the end of North Korea, and they would be obliterated from the planet if they ever dared decide to hit a nuclear weapon. But this is the same rhetoric that's been going on for the last few years, but more or less, it just happened a few months ago with North Korea, and now the North Koreans are on somewhat the negotiation table. It's all quieted down. And the whole thing that, okay, World War III is going to break out is just total nonsense. World War III is not going to break out. First of all, from a spiritual perspective, World War III is not mentioned in the Bible, in Revelation, although the theory or the notion of nation upon nation, rumors of wars, threatenings happening from both sides of the table, and we see that on almost like a daily basis now. But there is going to be no war. This is all a war of words at this point. We see Trump threatening Russia that the United States has stronger, smarter missiles, etc. And then the Russians responding saying that we don't do Twitter diplomacy. This is all going to lead to one thing. There's going to have to be a sit down on a round table, whatnot, with the international community, with the United States, with Russia, to sit down and decide what is going to happen in Syria and what is going to happen in Iraq. How are they going to divide the power? This is what's going to happen. There isn't going to be a World War III. Biblically, there is no World War III. And currently, politically, it doesn't make sense to have World War III. Russia is not stupid. The United States are not stupid. No one is stupid enough to threaten, well, to actually go and do a World War III. In my opinion, this is what I see. We all know the Middle East is being divided now, okay? The Middle East is being divided. The Shias, they've got their fair share in Iraq. The Sunnis don't have their fair share in Iraq. The Kurds, they got their fair share. They're working on getting more or becoming stronger. The Christians don't have their fair share. So we see the Iraqi country being divided piece by piece. This is now passing on to Syria. And it's going to pass to Lebanon. Now, how they're going to do it is in this war of diplomacy, war of words. Threatening, building up of powers. Hezbollah is very strong in Lebanon. There's two forces in Lebanon. The Hezbollah faction with the Lebanese forces, the Lebanese army. And this is going to create, at some point, a clash if it happens in Syria. If this clash happens in Syria, which is not going to be a global war, it's going to be a limited war in Syria, it's going to pass on to Lebanon. And the end result is going to be a division of Syria, a division of Lebanon into sectarian states, which what we already have seen in Syria, and now we are going to witness this seen in Iraq. We're going to witness this now in Syria. So this whole notion that World War III is breaking out, we're going to be going on war. Yes, there may be some missiles here and there. There may be some fake images of gassed children. There may be fake images of United States airplanes rescuing ISIS militants or leaders from Syria. Those may be surfacing, and they may be true. They may have happened, but at the same time, with the propaganda war that we're facing, they may not be true. And this could be all just a way to highly polarize the political climate, at the same time facilitating the move to more division, to more disruption in the Middle East, where eventually we'll have an Alawite state either run by Assad or his brother. We're probably going to end up seeing somewhat a Sunni state happening, extending from Syria to Lebanon. We're going to have to see for sure a Christian state extending in Lebanon from the Mediterranean to Mount Lebanon and the Mount Lebanon district. We're going to see the Shia state eventually in south of Lebanon. I don't want to be a bearer of bad news. I'm a very passionate person about, for example, my country and for unity and freedom of speech, speaking your mind and having freedom. But the way that things are being carved up politically, this rumors of war, the U.S. and Israel are heavily positioning themselves around the Mediterranean, and they're ready, to throw bombs. These are all decoys to sit down on the table and sit down and make the plan. The plan is to divide the Middle East. There is no unity anymore, and we see this over and over. It's resounded in the Bible, in the Revelations of John. Rumors of war and threats and fear and commotion and nation upon nation, until the resolve of the Antichrist, the resolve of the Savior, a false Savior, to come out from the ashes. You know, just like the phoenix from the ashes, a very parallel scenario to the resurrection of Christ, the spiritual and physical resurrection of Jesus from the dead. We're going to see this happening in front of our eyes. We're witnessing somewhat the prophecy. So that's my insight. There isn't going to be a World War III. There's going to be more theories and threatening from both sides. There's going to be more displaying possibly of Satan 3 and Satan 4 nuclear missiles on the Russian side and maybe on other sides. But this is all just a decoy to get your eyes away from actually what they really want. And what's needed now is actually to sit down on the table and to discuss how is the Middle East going to be divided, and which countries Iran is going to be remaining in, which countries the United States is going to be present in. So this whole notion from mainstream, alternative sites and mainstream sites that the war is happening and it's as if Donald Trump is going to click the nuclear button from his Twitter account. It's like, guys, wake up here. There is no nuclear war going to happen at this stage. It's not polarized to that level yet for a possible nuclear attack. This is all just localized. Who's going to be fighting this war, in my opinion? If it happens where there is a clash between either Israel and the Syrian forces, Israel and, per se, Russian, Iranian forces, it's going to extend to Lebanon. Hezbollah is going to get involved. Lebanese army is going to have to get involved. And hopefully it ends in a peaceful separation, because this is what's happening. The division is there. The unity is not there anymore because of many factors, many influences from outside. So we see a lot of tension growing, but for the channels like Alex Jones and Paul Joseph Watson, other alternative voices, conservative voices speaking that this is the end, that basically calling on the Trump base to go against this war. Trump is not going to war, okay? Trump hasn't gone to, this is all decoy. This is all talk. He's not going to go to war unless actually the United States is threatened or its allies are going to be attacked. Trump is not going to take the first shot. Trump is speaking now so that they force the other side and the allies to sit down on the table and discuss how to resolve the problem. Trump is a businessman. He's diplomatic. He's not a hard shooter. He's not hard-headed in a way. He's a very smart individual. He's not gonna, this is all decoy, and he's not gonna be instigating or starting a war from his Twitter account. Come on, people. And for his followers to feel that, oh, he's going against his words. When he goes to war, if he decides to make that move towards war, then, side away from him if you voted for him and you believe that he's not going. Let him first make that, don't judge the guy without him even making the move yet. This is all talk. Just like poker. You sit down on the poker table, are you gonna pretend that you're gonna show the person your cards, or if you're winning or losing? You're gonna show the opposite completely. You're gonna make the person fool. You're gonna fool the person. This is what Trump is doing. He's fooling not just the international community. He's not just fooling the Middle East and his allies. He's fooling the American people. Both sides, Democrat and Republican. He's playing you guys like on the wire, man. He's playing you. and he's playing the Russians, and the Russians are playing back. You know, what was the Russian response? We don't do Twitter diplomacy. What does that mean? It means get down on the table, sit down on the table, and discuss how we're gonna resolve the Syrian problem. I don't think the Russians really want Assad anymore in power, but they have at this point no other choice to support. There isn't any like representative for the Shia, Alawite, or sort of somewhat Christian presence in Syria other than Assad at this point. And on the other side you have Daesh, you have ISIS. So these are just my few words. I don't think there's going to be World War III. I don't see it happening anytime soon. It's not even mentioned biblically. There is going to be, for sure, a dissolution of states in the Middle East, a separation of states, and eventually something coming from the ashes. So, thanks everyone. Please subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and talk to you soon.